The real Spartacus versus Spartacus, Blood and Sand, 10 key differences. The man, the myth, the legend, a warrior in chains, a gladiator who defied an empire, a rebellion that shook Rome to its core. Spartacus has been immortalized in books, films, and television, but few portrayals are as gripping as Spartacus, Blood and Sand. The show gave us epic battles, brutal betrayals, and larger-than-life characters, but how much of it is actually true? Was Spartacus really a fearless revolutionary, or just a desperate fugitive? Were his battles as glorious as they seemed on screen? Did the real figures of history match their dramatic TV counterparts? Today, we're separating fact from fiction as we break down the 10 biggest differences between Spartacus, Blood and Sand, and the real-life story of history's most famous gladiator. 1. Spartacus's origins. Soldier or simple slave. TV show. Spartacus is depicted as a Thracian warrior who fights as an ally of Rome. After refusing to continue Rome's campaign, he is betrayed, captured, and sold into slavery. His main motivation becomes reuniting with his wife. Reality. Spartacus was indeed from Thrace, but there is no evidence he ever fought alongside Rome. Some historians believe he may have been a mercenary or a captured soldier, but his exact past remains uncertain. Unlike the show's version, there is no historical record of a betrayal that led to his enslavement. Verdict: partly true, he was Thracian, but his enslavement story is unclear. 2. Spartacus's wife, a driving force or historical mystery. TV show. Spartacus's love for his wife, Sora, is his driving motivation. She is sold into slavery, and his entire journey revolves around finding her again. Reality. Some ancient sources mention Spartacus may have had a wife, possibly a Thracian priestess, but she played no documented role in his rebellion. There is no record of her being enslaved or him fighting to reunite with her. His revolt was about freeing thousands of slaves, not just personal revenge. Verdict: mostly false. His rebellion was a war for survival, not a love story. 3. The Gladiator School Uprising, a bloodbath or strategic escape. TV show. Spartacus and dozens of other gladiators revolt in a bloody massacre inside the gladiator school of Lentulus Vatiatus, killing their captors in a dramatic battle. Reality. The real escape in 73 BCE was daring, but not as cinematic. About 70 gladiators, including Spartacus, used kitchen knives and stolen weapons to overpower the guards and escape. They then raided a supply armory before fleeing to Mount Vesuvius. There was no large-scale, dramatic battle inside the school. Verdict: partly true, the escape happened, but it wasn't a full-blown war. 4. The role of Crassus and other gladiators. TV show. Crassus is portrayed as Spartacus's rival turned brother-in-arms, a fierce warrior who initially opposes him, but later becomes his most loyal commander. Gannicus and Enemos also play major roles. Reality. Crassus was indeed a real historical figure and one of Spartacus's key generals, leading a faction of the rebel army. Gannicus may have existed, but is only mentioned in later Roman accounts. Enemos's historical existence is uncertain, though some sources suggest he was another gladiator leader. Verdict: partly true, Crassus was real, but the others are more speculative. 5. Spartacus's army, disciplined warriors or untrained masses. TV show. Spartacus's army is depicted as a well-trained military force, using formations and battle strategies similar to the Roman legions. Reality. Spartacus's army grew to over 70,000 fighters, but they were mostly runaway slaves, farmers, and untrained warriors. They relied on guerrilla warfare, ambush tactics, and surprise attacks, not organized battlefield formations. Spartacus was a skilled leader, but his forces were not as disciplined as the show suggests. Verdict: partly true, he was a brilliant tactician, but his army was a chaotic mix of fighters. 6. Roman politics and corruption, as twisted as the show. TV show. Rome is portrayed as a cesspool of corruption, betrayal, and backstabbing, with figures like Bactius, Glaber, and Crassus steaming for power. Reality. While Rome was indeed ruthless and politically cutthroat, many of these characters were heavily fictionalized. Bactius's real role in history is unclear, and Glaber's involvement in fighting Spartacus was far less significant than the show portrays. Crassus, however, was a real historical figure who played a crucial role in Spartacus's downfall. Verdict. Partly true, Rome was corrupt, but many TV characters are exaggerated or fictional. 7. The battles, epic showdowns or tactical warfare. TV show. The battles are large-scale, slow-motion bloodbaths with Spartacus engaging in heroic one-on-one duels. Reality. Spartacus's victories came from brilliant strategy, not brute force. His army rarely engaged in full-scale battles, instead ambushing Roman forces, striking supply lines, and using surprise attacks. While there were direct confrontations, Spartacus was more about outmaneuvering Rome than defeating them in open battle. Verdict. Partly true, the battles happened, but Spartacus relied more on strategy than sheer strength. 8. Crassus versus Spartacus, a personal rivalry. TV show. Crassus is shown as Spartacus's ultimate rival, personally obsessed with destroying him. Reality. Crassus was indeed the general who crushed Spartacus's rebellion, but there is no evidence of a personal rivalry. He saw Spartacus as a military threat, not an archenemy. His real goal was to secure power in Rome, and Spartacus was simply an obstacle in his way. Verdict. Mostly false. Crassus fought Spartacus, but wasn't personally obsessed with him. 9. The final battle, Spartacus's heroic last stand. TV show. Spartacus leads his forces into one final battle, killing countless Roman soldiers before facing Crassus himself. He fights bravely but is ultimately slain. Reality. The final battle in 71 BC was a disastrous defeat for Spartacus. He tried to break through Roman lines, but was overwhelmed. His body was never found, and there was no one-on-one duel with Crassus. Verdict. Partly false, the battle was real, but Spartacus's final fate remains a mystery. 10. The fate of Spartacus's followers. TV show. Many of Spartacus's allies escape, keeping his legacy alive. Reality. Over 6,000 of Spartacus's captured followers were crucified along the Appian Way as a warning to future rebels. This was one of the most brutal mass executions in Roman history. Verdict. Mostly false. Most of his followers were executed, not survivors. Conclusion. History versus Hollywood. The TV series Spartacus, Blood and Sand, got a lot right, especially the themes of oppression, resistance, and Rome's cruelty. But it also took major liberties with characters, battles, and events. Spartacus remains a symbol of rebellion, but his true story is even more fascinating than fiction. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history versus Hollywood, hit that like button, subscribe, and let us know what historical figures should we cover next. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.